Hello, everybody. It's Hobo Bob, and I've been coming here this morning to tell you a little story. I talked to Grandpa Scott, and he said I'd be the best person to tell you the story that I have for you today, because it's a story and it's a great adventure, and maybe a little bit of wisdom tied in with it too, from old Hobo Bob. Well, I'll tell you what, I've come in from being out on the prairie and traveling across this great country of ours. Actually, I've traveled across this country many, many times and all around the world. And that's why I have this special story for you today, because it has a lot to do with where I've been and what you should do with your life. Well, I'll tell you what, now that the day is here, I can turn off my lamp, blow her out, and I can read you the story that Grandpa Scott asked me to share with you today. And maybe I'll share it with a couple of my woodland creatures that are here with us today. Old Bambi himself, and Elsa the cow, and Mr. Billy Bob the bison, otherwise known as the Kantanka man. Well, the book I have today from old Hobo Bob to read to you is called Never Talk to Strangers. Now, I've talked to a lot of strangers, but you need to take some caution. So I thought I'd share the story with you. Never talk to strangers. If you're hanging from a trapeze and up sneaks a camel with bony knees, remember this rule, if you please. Never talk to strangers. If you're shopping in a store and a spotted leopard leaps through the door, don't ask him what he's shopping for. Never talk to strangers. If the doorbell rings and standing there's a grouchy, grumbling grizzly bear, well, shut the door. Your mother won't care. Never talk to strangers. If you're in the park for a walk and out of the cloud parachutes a hawk, unless you know his name, don't talk. Never talk to strangers. If you're waiting for a bus and behind you stands a rhinoceros, though he may shove and make a fuss, well, never talk to strangers. If you're out for a mountain climb and the coyote asks you for the time, let him wait for a clock to chime. Never talk to strangers. If you're mailing a letter to Antler Seal and you see a car with a whale at the wheel, stay away from this automobile. Never talk to strangers. If you're riding a bike at noon and you see a bee with a bass bassoon, don't stop to name his tune. Never talk to strangers. If you're swimming in a pool and a crocodile begins to drool, paddle away and repeat this rule. Never talk to strangers. But if your father introduces you to a roly-poly kangaroo, say politely, how do you do? It's not talking to strangers because your father knew him. If your teacher says she'd like you to meet a lilac llama who's very sweet, invite her over and serve a treat. That's not talking to strangers because your teacher knows her. Good advice. If a pal of yours is always known, brings around a prancing roan, welcome him with a friendly tone. That's not talking to strangers, but because your pal knows him. While eating toast and honey, you'll catch a glimpse of an Easter bunny. Tell him a joke, and he'll think it's funny. That's not talking to strangers, because everyone knows him. Now, I'll tell you why you've never heard this jolly giraffe say a single word. It's because he learned from a little bird. Never talk to strangers. And that's the end of our story today, young people. I'm so glad that Grandpa Scott allowed me, Hobo Bob, to come in here and share this very important story and great adventure of learning when and when not to talk to strangers. Well, that's all for now, but you know that's not the whole story, because now's the time to go outside and have some fun, because this story is all done.